Don't read somebody, don't know what am I to think if it says page after page after page. What if, who was Muhammad's first wife? What's her name? Khadija. One of the things I think I like that Khadija said, what she said, isn't like Muhammad would come back and he said, Allah's changed his mind, Allah's changed his mind. You guys can only have 4 wives, but me, I've got to have 7 wives or 9 wives with it. And Khadija said to him, very wise woman, she said, isn't it strange, Muhammad? Whenever God changes his mind, it sort of seems to be in your favour.
But he never married more than one when she was alive?
But once she died, he had 7 wives, didn't he?
After she died, yeah.
And one of them he took as a wife at 7 years old. How do you feel about that? Are you comfortable with that? Completely comfortable with that. A man in his 50s taking a girl at 7 with his wife. Are you complete? You told me this is the best man that ever walked. Not the second best, not a good man, the best man to ever walk the earth. And he takes a child at 7 to be his bride. Are you 100% comfortable with that?
I think there's so much more to it than I don't think he took one like that. I can't speak because for my religion because I don't know that much.
Sure, you can speak for your religion. Look into it.
Yes, I can. But in terms of that, I don't feel like I can speak on behalf of Islam like that because I don't know that.
Okay, well, I'd say the first thing should be right off. If I give you honesty, I would say then read the Quran, read it right the way through, and see what he himself, the man that is described as the best man that ever lived. See what it says. Then I challenge you. I would say pick up not even the whole New Testament, pick up the Gospel of John and read through it and see if you can find any fault in the man Jesus. Compare the two, just compare. You live in a free society where you're allowed to compare and we encourage debate and discourse and thinking. I would say, look into it.
Okay, but putting the religions aside, he's talking about like us being people.
Yeah.
Do you not just think that we can work together? Like,
I believe people should work together, and I think if you look at this nation, Britain, it's a very graceful nation. It's a very peace-loving. It looks for dialogue, it looks for peace.
Have you not seen the Muslims that are doing
No, I haven't. I don't see a single Muslim country that seems to work towards peace.
I'm not talking about Muslim countries.
Well, what are we talking about then? These are countries that quote the Quran on the flag.
But again, the government system, I don't agree with things that are happening myself.
Tell me something. Okay, there's a lot of things. I present to you a lot of things, and you say I don't agree with that, and I'm presenting Islam back to you, and you say, well, I don't agree with that part. That's man twisting it. That's man twisting it. It's man misreading it. I'll say, okay, please show me an example where Islam really works, where there's an outworking of Islam, and it works really, really well. So please tell me that example.
Well, I give an example of where I live in Birmingham. There are so many people who are doing things in the community. There's charities which are set up by Muslim organisations. These are Muslim organisations who, when there was the attack in Manchester, they were raising money for the families of the victims to support them. So we're Muslims working in the community together. That's based on what we're taught in our religion.
And I would agree with you. I'd say within Islam there'll be some really lovely people. There'll be some lovely-hearted people, and that'll be part of their humanity. There'll be lovely people.
But that goes back to
just stay with me. There'll be lovely Buddhists. There'll be lovely Hindus. There'll be lovely atheists. There'll be lovely. All different people of all, that's their humanity. They're lovely, sometimes they're lovely in spite of their belief system, not because of it. So I'd put it to you, they're not lovely because there'll be bits in, I don't know, there'll be bits in the Quran that says feed the poor. I'd say if you've got any ounce of humanity about you, you don't need to read a book to tell you to help somebody who's down. That's just your humanity. That's your humanity. The travelling on the back of that.
Nice to have you made that.
So that's what I would say about that. I would say read about the man Muhammad, who's held up as the best man.
He's a paedophile. He said kill my infidel.
Okay, if we go to that period of time.
Yeah. Okay, so context, yeah. I put it to you, humanity transverses timelines. Humanity.
It's like, for example, now we're a society where we're more accepting and more tolerant. Even racism in this country, they were prejudiced against people because of their skin colour. And if you go into
Do you feel like it? So that's like an evolution, isn't it? As people are evolving, we're getting better and sort of we move along and there's a journey forward. And I would say you're quite right. There's as a society, say just if I may, so say it's British society, there's certain things we've moved forward on. You know, we used to tell Irish jokes 20 years ago. Now you cringe to think you would tell those jokes. They're really wrong. So there's an evolution, there's a moving forward. Do you feel like Islam moves forward?
That's the thing, like, we had that before. There was no such thing as racism in Islam. You're not allowed to. Islam says all people are equal in the eyes of God, and it doesn't matter what colour you are or where.
Have you seen that written in the Quran?
Yeah.
How does that sit with them on one level?
It says a black man, it says an Arab is not better than a non-Arab, and a non-Arab is not better than an Arab, because at that time they were very proud people, the Arabs, which is where the Quran was revealed, the Arabs. But he's making it clear in the Quran, just because it's revealed here doesn't mean that you're better than everyone else. So there wasn't racism, and that's what spoke to Malcolm X as well. So when he went to Mecca, everyone was standing shoulder to shoulder as people. So where you're saying there's been, we've evolved here, but in Islam we already had that about being humans.
So do you feel, again, from what I see, I've seen videos on YouTube where gay people are being thrown off buildings in complete terror. It's on YouTube. It's all there. The crowd below, it's not one or two. There's hundreds of people cheering this on as these poor gay people in what I can't imagine the level of terror they're being thrown off. The mullahs that I see and the holy men I see of Islam, they seem to condone this. They seem to say this is a good thing. How do you feel about that?
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
But it's happening. It's not happening in spite of Islam. It's happening because of Islam, in the name of Islam. These chaps who kill these people out for the night out the other week, as they was putting the knives in, they were shouting, "This is for Allah." It's hard to disconnect the two things.
Well, then it's unfair. It's like if someone stood up there and said, "We're doing this for Jesus," I would not then say there's a flaw in the religion. I'd say, well, that person clearly should know what his religion is telling them.
So what bad things do you think are currently being done in the name of Jesus or in the name of Christianity currently around the world today?
The KKK.
I think the KKK is a red herring. If the KKK does in fact exist, I would imagine that it exists in the deep south in America, and its membership might member a couple of hundred if you were lucky. I'd be surprised if they do more than meet on a Tuesday night in a bar and sing a few old boy songs. And that's probably as far as the KKK. The KKK is a red herring that's thrown out by the myth. Okay, well, let's do that. I would disagree that the KKK is any type of force at all in any real existence. Can you give me any examples, say, even in the last 5 or 10 years, that the KKK has done anything that's bad? If they exist, I don't think they exist personally, but can you give me any examples?
Like incidents, I just don't. I feel like if you seek hate, then that's what you see. For me, I don't try and find a flaw in Christianity or in people. I try and bring out the good. Like, look at what these Christians are doing. Or not even addressing them as Christians. Look at what these people do with these people, and you know. And I try and bring that up. So one of the shows that I do in my radio station is bringing inspirational people onto my show to talk about the good that they're doing in the community, to encourage and inspire others to do the same thing. I wouldn't go on the internet and find some bad things that Christians did or the KKK, because I don't want to know about the bad things. I'm not going to fight someone and say, oh, you know, start tit for tat. The Muslims did this, but the Christians did that, and the Christians did this, and the Jews did that. And like,
well, again, you're using that example, saying the Christians did that and the Jews did that. I'll present that to you, back to you, and say, okay, so clearly there must be things that these groups are doing that are really bad. You mentioned Israel, you mentioned the Jews. What's your feeling towards Israel?
Israel.
Yeah, how do you feel about
any killing as well?
Did you feel Israel has a right to exist?
I feel like people should live together in peace.
But do you think there should be a Jewish state called Israel that should be allowed to exist?
If they do it in a peaceful manner and they can work together, then, but apart from killing each other...
They seem to be doing it in a peaceful manner, I would say. If you look at the Middle East, there seems to be one tiny strip of land that seems to work, and that place is called Israel.
They're fighting to get it. They're killing a lot of people to get that.
Who are killing a lot of people?
The Israelis, they're killing a lot of Palestinians.
Are they doing that in defence, or are the aggressors or the
People would
defenders?
argue from either side.
I would say, again, give me an example where their actions are defensive. I think there's nobody wants peace in the Middle East more than the Israelis. I think they're desperate for peace. They're desperate for a quiet life. They live on a constant war fetting.
Opinions on that. It kind of goes down to what you're looking at and where you're getting that information from, and from what side. At the end of the day, the most important thing for me is Islam condemns murder
Mansour,
of innocent
I was
lives.
having a bit of fun with him.
And that we work together.
I was having a bit of fun.
Whether that's in Israel or Palestine or England,
What's the other debate?
Pakistan, wherever it is, Islam is not, we don't encourage
Why do you think there seems to be a sizable proportion of Muslims who aren't getting that message about peaceful living? What's your
I don't
thoughts
think
about
they're
that?
acting upon Islam, and I wouldn't consider them Muslims. I would just say they're just random people who have issues within themselves and acting on their own accord.
So if, let's say this proportion becomes 10% or 20% of people who are, to use your stance, misunderstanding Islam.
They're not misunderstanding Islam, they're just using Islam. They're not if you understood Islam for what it really is, you'd realise that Islam does not.
But the guys who are committing these atrocities, they seem to spend more time with their head in the Quran than absolutely anybody else. They seem to be ticking all the boxes, respecting Ramadan, praying when they should, reading the Quran. They seem to be the most up to speed on the Quran, and yet these are the guys that seem to be carrying out these acts.
This is what I mean. You can have someone, a Christian, who goes to their church all the time, who puts their hand up and prays in front of everyone, but they've not got a clean heart and they don't really appreciate what Christianity really teaches. Even in my religion, it says you can pray 5 times a day and fast, but if you're not doing what Islam really teaches, which is doing being good in the community and giving your neighbours rights, then Islam is just so much more than praying on 5 times a day.
Why is it? I would take your point if somebody goes to a church. I absolutely agree with it. It's what's in the heart. It's all about the heart. It's the most important thing that I would say. That's what God sees and God listens to. Why is it that so many Muslims are missing? If you tell me there's a beautiful message in Islam, why is it that so many people seem to be missing that message?
They're not. There's so many Muslims here that are living peacefully. She's a Muslim, and are you a Muslim? And do you live peacefully in your community?
No doubt there must be.
There's loads. If Islam taught hate for us to kill all the disbelievers, there'd be we'd be killing everyone.
Well, in the countries where Islam has the majority in terms of the population, in the countries where Islam has the edge in terms of population, that is so happening.
For example,
But that's the government and not the Muslims.
It's not Pakistan.
And we agree that there's a problem in the system of Pakistan. It's not the religion. My sister went there and she came back crying and said the things that they do to children are horrendous and it's against Islam.
So again, it seems as so Pakistan is like an experiment. So you had India, and then in 1947 it split, and it became 46 or 47. It split, and Pakistan was formed, and it became a Muslim country. If you feel unsafe or anything, let me know if there's movement going on around you.
Are they throwing?
Are you okay?
Yeah, are they throwing anything? No.
No, we're okay, you're safe and fine. So it'd be like an experiment. So a piece of land was given to Islam, to Muslims. We called it Pakistan. Now you'd think if that was based on a theocracy, if that was based on Islam, then that country, within a matter of time, would become like a caliphate, it would become like a Muslim paradise, because everyone was committed to the cause of Islam. And again, I'll go back to you before and say, judge something by its fruits, and I'd say, I look at Pakistan, I don't see a utopia, and that is a country that is just based on Islam. And again, you threw it to me.
They're not, but that's the thing. They're not, because they're not basing. It's not based on the religion. They're being selfish.
Okay. So surely you can have Islamic culture. So
no, it's It's not
No, it's
Islamic
not.
culture, no.
It's not. It's okay.
There's just religion and then there's culture.
Is there?
My parents disagree with certain things in the Pakistani culture, which is you can't marry someone who's not Pakistani. Not only do they have to be Pakistani, they also have, not all Pakistanis agree with this, but they have to be part of a certain sect of being Pakistani. My parents said marry whoever you want as long as they're good people.
Okay.
And that's
Basically, what she just said is the problem me and her are having. So we are a live example. What it is, yeah, that's not religion.
Okay.
So I'm late to the debate. Are you saying that in Islam that you can marry anybody?
in Islam you can marry people of different cultures.
No, you can only marry al-Khatib, people of the book. So you could, a Muslim woman can marry no one other than.
Like ethnicity.
No, so okay, but I thought you were talking about religion. Sorry, I thought you were saying that in Islam, Muslims can only marry Muslims,
Yeah.
and that's the case unless you're a Muslim man, and then you can marry a woman of the book. So either a Christian or a Jew, like myself. Well, not like myself, because a man wouldn't be able to marry me in Islam, because that's not so. That's not so halal.
Are you Jewish, sir?
I am Jewish, yeah.
Do you feel Israel is under threat from the world of Islam?
I feel that Israel is under threat every breathing second of its existence.
I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Do you think Israel and the Jews would like to live in peace in Israel?
100%.
And do you think they work hard and fight for that day?
There's been numerous peace officers. Camp David, Tabard, there was a huge peace offering where there was the right to turn off of the sun. 97% of the land that the Palestinians wanted was offered to them, and billions of dollars in compensation. The Palestinians that had to leave, that left in the 48 war, they were offered huge things and it was rejected. So yeah, Israel makes huge efforts for peace.
I mean, from the press, from the left-leaning press for the sea, so I'd say the BBC and the main media streams are very leftist. But even when I look at those news channels, the reports from Islam seem to despise the nation of Israel and the Jewish people.
We don't have a problem with Jewish people.
I think within Islam it's divided into two. So the Quran says that Jews can go to heaven, but it also says in another ayah that Jews were turned into apes and pigs. So one Muslim can read it and say that Jews are Muslims and pigs, and another Muslim can say they go to heaven. It does depend on the Muslim and how they interpret their faith.
What is that?
So which one? The one that Jews can go to Jannah, or the
You know the ayah.
So if you look at it on the internet, unfortunately I'm Jewish.
Do you read, so when you source this information, is it from the Quran itself or is it from